Welcome to the Voice of San Diego, Friday 5 Live at 5. It's the Friday 5 Live at 5 from the great Voice of San Diego offices in downtown San Diego. It's a gloomy day in San Diego, but we've got the Friday 5 Live at 5 back. Going to try to get this quick. We got baseball tonight. We've got politics report we got to watch to do tonight. I'm way into baseball these days, coaching the girls' softball team. I am not at all too competitive about that. I'm very good. Everybody loves me. We're having fun. We're all getting along. All the girls support each other and into it. I just love it. I love the minimal amount of strategy. It's just good stuff. And then the Padres, what a great win last night, right? Best double play I've ever seen. Padres, they're pitching. They're down. They're up one. There's bases are loaded. One out. Dodgers are up. What's his name? Noisy. Second base did Rocket. I think in my head, oh my God, they're going to lose. This is 2 runs easy. It's going to be a double. It was hit so hard. But there's Jake Cronenworth. Stops it, gets it, flips it to Fernando Tatis, who fires it over to first base. Padres protect their lead. What an incredible way for that game to turn. I love baseball. Hope you love baseball too. If you don't, happy to help you think about it, get into it, because this is the year. The Padres are so much fun. Anyway, let's get to our number one. The police budget. So it's budget week. We talked about it on the podcast. We got it in the politics report, got it in the last politics report. Lots of city budget issues coming up. City budget, of course, was rescued by the federal government. Would have had a huge deficit to close this year. Fortunately, that has been avoided. But libraries, as we've talked about, they're being cut. $6.9 million being saved by cutting library hours. They're not going to have libraries open Sunday or Monday, including the Central Library. And so that's kind of a big deal. But on the other side, the police budget's going up $19 million, 3.2%. What is going on there? There was a lot of talk about this, and has been a lot of talk this week. Sean Elo Rivera, councilman, and along with Monica Montgomery Stepp, mostly said that they want to change the budget of the police department. Monica Montgomery said it pretty clear. She said, quote, "It's very clear we need to look at reallocating some of the funding, investing more in our communities." So that's not unclear. Sean Elo Rivera, a little bit more vague about what he want to do, but they do want to attack the police budget. But the mayor's office is not having the conversation about it being discretionary. Here was Nick Serrano. He's the mayor's deputy chief of staff, replying to somebody who's saying that the police department was getting a lot more money and while other things were getting closed. He said, quote, "Because the city has a pension obligation we have to fulfill, the increase to the police budget is the city's pension payment. It is not a service level increase. Nice try." All right. There's a lot going on in there. That tweet was written for Voice of San Diego's Scott Lewis to deconstruct, because there's nothing my career has prepared me for better than to explain what's going on with that tweet and with the whole situation. So obviously pensions, the city is the only group of city employees who were guaranteed to continue getting pensions on into the future were police officers. Now, there are current city employees in other departments that get pensions, but they've been sort of grandfathered in. Now, that's all in flux. That might be changed again. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, pensions. Employees contribute to it. City contributes to it. And then it grows like a flower in the investment market. If all of those are enough, then nobody else has to put too much more money into it. But the city, it's not enough. And in the city of San Diego, the citizens, taxpayers, have to put a lot more money into the pension system to make it possible for all of these benefits and these commitments to be followed through on. Okay? It's a basic fact there. That cost has been going up quite rapidly. Check this out. So for the police department itself, it's part of the pension payment. Now, this is just one part of the pension payment. is rather large, and it's been going up. So it went up 0.5 million, half a million in 19, 21 million in 20, another 9 million in 21, and now it's set to go up another 15 million. Total allocation, $152 million from the police department is going to the city's pension system to pay for the retirement benefits of current and future city police officers. Got it? So that cost is going up. So yes, it is true that they have to keep making that payment. The city cannot default on its payment to its pension system. But what the tweet implies is that were it not for that non-discretionary item, like they don't have discretion over it, were it not for that, they could go ahead and make that change. They would lower the pension or the police department's budget or not increase it that much. But I'm not sure that's altogether clear. Voice of San Diego's Scott Lewis got a chance to sit down with the finance folks and the mayor's office to talk about some of this stuff. And they helped clarify some of these points about what they are cutting, what they're not. But they also made clear that they wouldn't want to change the police officers' pension benefits over the long term, or their pay, or their jobs. They don't want to cut jobs. If they wanted to cut this much or $19 million in the police officer's budget, they could do that. The police department's budget can be cut that much, but the only way to do it is to lay off officers. So you can't really say like it's out of our hands. We're not making the choice to have this increase in the police officer's budget. Underneath that is a choice, and that choice is to not lay off police officers. They are not going to do that. They don't want to do that, but that's a choice. That's a choice they should own. And on the other side, if you want to cut the police department budget, you have to own that you want to cut police officers. So that was my number one. Any questions? Do you know Sean? Yeah, I do know that. I reported about it in the politics report last week. He is a member of the fans of the Dodgers. It's fine. You know, what's good about it actually is he doesn't like apologize for it. He's not like worried about it or whatever. He's like, yeah, bring it on. I'm a Dodgers fan. What do you got? That's better than like if he were all like weird about it. I wouldn't like that. That would just be bad. Like if he was like, well, I like the Padres too. No, don't. No, you don't. All right. Dreadful needs to recant. It was kind of a surprise. Like it's fine. It's fine. I guess. No, he's smart. All right, good. Number 2. All right, I did get a little bit of clarity about the library cuts. So there was $6.9 million cut from the library, again, to keep it closed that Sunday and Monday every week when it does open. By the way, when are they going to open the libraries and the rec centers and stuff? Like, we can have museums. We're back at the office a little bit. We can have SeaWorld's got the roller coasters going. What about the rec centers and the libraries? Libraries are good. They can be open. What's happening with that? But when they do open, they're not going to be open Sundays and Mondays if the mayor gets his way. That's to save $6.9 million, he says. But also appears there's something else going on. As the finance staff and the mayor's office made clear to me, that this was a proposal from the library system itself. Misty Daniels, who runs that, wants to see a big change in how it operates. You know, there's helter-skelter hours all the time. There's some are open this time, some are not, some all that. They wanted to standardize it Tuesday through Saturday, Sundays and Mondays off. And a lot of those hours are made up by these hourly employees. Apparently there's full-time employees, half-time employees, and then there's these hourly employees. I'm not quite sure the difference between the part-time employees. I guess they have benefits, and the hourly employees, just straight hourly, short hours employees. Well, they wanted to stop with them, and they want to Instead, just dedicate all the time that's available in the hours to the full and part-time library employees. Now, the Municipal Employees Association vowed to fight these cuts still. Um, they want to protect those jobs and those library hours, and they're not quite sure why this is happening, especially if it's being characterized as a budget cut. Why are other parts of the budget being increased? So you're literally, you are making, again, there's another place where they're saying we don't have a choice, but they are kind of, I don't think they're saying they don't have a choice, but that is a choice being made as well. Like it's not just because of the structural deficit. You're also like prioritizing. This is a place where we can make some cuts and it's fine. Now, the mayor's office did say, look, this is the first part of a long process. Anyway, in other words, it seemed like they were communicating to me that like they're probably going to back off or they might back off this change. This is just a suggestion. Obviously, the council and the Municipal Employees Association not so excited about that, but we did this week have a good conversation. You can check it out about the budget. I'm going to see if I can. Meg's not here. I'm going to see if I can post this. So we had a conversation about City of San Diego's budget, how you can understand it. And in this piece, Maestro Christian has posted. There is a video of this discussion we had. We had Shawnee Rivera, the councilman. We had Chris Kate, the councilman. We had Kira Green from the Center for Policy Initiatives. And we had Michael Zuquette from the Municipal Employees Association. They were talking about all these things. You should watch that. I posted the link in the comments. It's very interesting. But at that event, Shawnee Rivera suggested that we should, let's see, there he is. Shawnee Rivera suggested that we get rid of the trash fees, or we make equitable the trash fee situation. So this is a really complicated thing, and I think the reason it hasn't been addressed is because people just don't understand it. But basically, put very simply, if you are able to get your trash onto the street, the city is required to take it for no special fee. People hate it when you say it's free, because it's not free. Nothing's free. That you have to pay people to do that, and the city pays them, and we pay taxes. So it's not free, but it's no special fee, unlike other cities where you pay a special fee for trash collection. My wife just asked if I was doing this show tonight. Obviously not watching. Anyway, so you don't pay a special fee to have your trash picked up. Now, there are apartment buildings where they can't get the trash out to the street, or they choose not to, and thus they pay private haulers to come take it away. They pay special fees. So you have a situation where you have a lot of single-family homes that get no special fee trash pickup, and you have apartments, often newer, bigger apartment buildings, where they pay special fees. So it's kind of not an equitable situation, right? You have some people paying for trash pickup and some people who don't, and the people who don't or do pay the fee are often the least wealthiest. It's a little backwards. So there's been both Republican and Democratic proposals to make this more equity. The Republicans would say, how about we stop giving everybody free trash, stop picking up trash at all, and instead everybody can pay a private company to have the trash come and pick up their trash. And then I think on the other side, on the left, they would say, well, no, maybe everybody should pay a fee, including the single family homeowners, and we should maybe municipalize the whole system and everybody get, or at least have the option to get municipal trash collects. So there's two very different perspectives on what might be done about that. But at the heart of it is an assumption that it's not an equitable situation. So Sanilo Rivera says he's going to do that. It has been disputed in the past whether that can be changed just by a city council decision or by a vote of the people, because it is part of the city charter. So changing the city charter, but it's not clear if you could make a change that's related to it that has the same impact without changing the charter. So that's an aside on the city budget. I probably should have just made it its own thing, but let's move on. Number 3. My wife, I'm on TV, or I'm on this broadcast. That's funny. All right, number 3, we're going to do, another big piece of news. Maya Sri Krishnan wrote this week about the Housing Commission, and that was a really interesting piece. Several members of the Housing Commission are worried that the $80 million that the Housing Commission has to give out to people who have fallen in arrears. They said arrears a lot. I love arrears. Have fallen in arrears with their rental payments and thus are in danger of being evicted when the eviction moratorium runs out. And they're worried that they're not going to spend down their money that the federal government and the state governments have given to them to help people avoid this and make sure that their landlords are at least partially whole so they don't get booted when they're allowed to get booted by eviction moratorium being taken. So she did a good story about not only that, but how there's some neighborhoods that clearly, I guess, pretty likely have more need than applications are coming in for the need or for the assistance. So what's going on there? Are they not? Is it an outreach problem or is it a need problem? The Housing Commission was on the record saying, look, there might be a case where there's just not that much need out there and we'll have a lot of money left over, which is interesting if that happens. But if it happens the other way where they do have a lot of money left over and then a lot of people get evicted, that's not great. So really interesting moment there for the Housing Commission. Check out Maya's story at voicesandiego.org. Try to grab that link as well. All right, number 4. All right, here, I've grabbed that link. I'm going to post that in the comments. All right, there you go. Number 4, which one was number 4? Oh, yeah, another big piece of news. Voice of San Diego broke this week. High Tech High, the renowned charter school system. There's obviously the original ones in Point Loma, Liberty Station area. They have that famous sort of project-based learning system where you, instead of having a math class and a English class, you have a class where you're trying to build something or work on a project where you learn English and you learn math and you learn them through less direct ways, and thus you're more into it. You understand the concepts, all that, right? And you personalize learning, and they have a pretty good record getting kids into college. The High Tech High is where Superintendent Cindy Martin sent her son to school as well. San Diego Unified School District's superintendent sent her son to that also where a lot of prominent politicians and others have their kids. Its teachers announced that they want to organize a union, and it seems like they have enough support to make that happen. Fascinating, yet like I think it's the third big system in San Diego. Obviously Preuss. There's a lot of other unionized charters, but as far as like these prominent ones kind of going down that route, you have Preuss with UC San Diego, you had Gompers in southeastern San Diego, and now High Tech High go union with its staff. Very interesting implications there. Does it start to like ease the tension between charters and traditional district schools and the traditional school district? Can they collaborate on doing what charters really wanted to do, which is scale out these experiments and flexibility so that other places might learn from that? Or does it, does that hostility still exist? Fascinating development there. When you remove that tension about unionization or unions, and does that make for a more collaborative environment with these charter schools, or does it impose inflexibility on the charter schools that hurts their production and their own success? So fascinating moment in local education with that news. Check it out at voiceofsandiego.org. All right. And number 5. Wanted to highlight David Alvarez, former San Diego City Councilman. He wrote for us a fascinating piece about just how hard it is for San Diegans to build granny flats. He, as he said, tried to pass laws and changes to the codes to allow for these accessory dwelling units to be built in, if you have a little house and you want to help the housing shortage, you want to make a little equity build up on the side, you want to address the needs, you were encouraged to build a granny flat on your lot, and it was supposed to be a lot easier. And as he points out, it was very difficult. Before pursuing building an accessory dwelling unit, I prepared spreadsheets, cleared a project timeline, and projected potential rental income. I was wrong on all of it, and I still have not received my permit or begun construction. He said if he followed his own projections, he'd be looking for a tenant right now, and he hasn't even broken ground. It was a fascinating story about just how difficult it remains, and how much he has learned about how difficult it is to get permits like that. For instance, he talked about how he was far along in the process, and then they're like, "Oh, you got to make sure that there's not an earthquake, fault underneath your property." Which, like, you can't just like knock on the ground to see. You got to like go and you got to get some people. Obviously, there's a whole industry of people that do that for you, but um, costs money, adds to your. And he talked about how he had to borrow more money to make it happen. So it's not. It was a really interesting moment in a councilman sort of recognizing, what it's like on the actual ground in some of these situations. All right. Finally, I wanted to promote something. San Diego 101. You might remember the stories that we did, the videos we did last year about how things like the county government differs from the city government. How what who's in charge of the border, where we get water. Well, we have a new season coming out on Monday. Adriana Heldes has worked really hard on this, and the production staff. We have a product team, Voice San Diego, led by Nate John, and Megan Wood, and they have produced a whole new season of San Diego 101 coming out Monday. So you'll want to watch for that. All right. I got to get some stuff done. Got to go watch the Padres. Any other questions about how things work in San Diego that I can help with? If not, great to be back. Thank you for participating. Maybe we can work on the councilman who's a Dodger fan. Talk to him. See if there's somebody we could send him to. Maybe he needs to talk to somebody. It's fine. All right. Cheers. Have a good weekend.